here's the random Q&A. And yeah, I'll just wait. I will do this for maybe an hour and I'll go to dinner. While we're on it, this is a random Q&A. And if nobody asks question, I'm just gonna look at random shit and just random shit. While we wait for people to ask questions, I realized that I probably stopped the last stream too early and nobody actually heard me saying that there will be a Q&A session. I should have stopped the streaming from OBS first and then do the end stream on YouTube's control. But I'm not very good at this, as you can clearly tell. Any opinions on no idea. I've never even heard of this company. Testing kit company. Problem is these, they're gonna have a burst in earnings and probably not a large one at that, and then would kind of just die off. And the reason is if China could get the kits out at, it's actually funny because because my cousin actually bought a bunch of test kits and sold them to Italy. It's crazy. Before the Italian government was able to distribute their kits, he bought a bunch from China. And I don't know if it's legitimate channels, but he bought kits from China and sold them in Italy. And I thought, he asked me whether I want to do the same to US. I was like, holy shit, I'm not sure if this thing is safe. And I mean, it's safe and all, because you're not gonna die from the kits, but like it does seem pretty regulated stuff, and I was too chicken to do it. Have you seen the movements of oil tanker markets? I haven't. I've been intending to look at the oil tankers, but oil tankers don't necessarily suffer. Like in 2016, 15, 16, oil dropped by quite a lot. And tankers didn't actually do too bad because eventually some of them became just floating storage facilities because they don't have enough to store them. Like on land, they don't have enough space to store them. Basically, all the storage facilities are maxed out, and then they had a bunch of ships that just floating on the sea, storing oil, excess oil. So that happens. There's no real way. Yeah, I agree with that. Um, they have like some exclusive distribution rights from a company in Zhejiang University. Interesting. Yeah, but at some point, those exclude. I mean, if you're facing an emergency, there these exclusive rights probably won't be honored. Um, just fact of life. When you have people dying versus making money, the the I mean the priority will always be preventing people dying. So I don't see that exclusive right lasting too long. And even if that does, they can, yeah, they can't really charge too much for it either. I mean, Gillette is not going to make $10 billion from this. They're going to probably just make 1 billion, which probably does not quite cover their research cost. But the research cost is sunken costs, so whatever they can get for remdesivir is just good stuff. Read tanker, check out Bimco YouTube. Okay, I'll check Yeah, I'll check that out. Thanks for the tip, Richard B. With the tanker in the Middle East bought up all the rights to transport oil with almost all the different companies with shutting rates. Yeah, well, they're gonna be turned into they just end up with as floating storage facilities. It's in on that situation, on the oil situation, I was looking at how Russia would turn out from this situation. So a couple of things that stood out for me for Russia. There was a interview. I don't remember the name. So Russia had some minister that got interviewed saying something like 25 rubles or like 3,000 rubles. And then they were like, they said it was very comfortable or something like that, oil price per barrel, something like that. There was a, I don't remember the exact uh, interview where I saw it, but there was an interview, and that translates as the ruble just depreciated against dollar. 3,000 ruble to dollar is actually just 41 dollars per barrel. They said that was very comfortable, and they said uh, they can do 20 something like 2100 to something like 2,700. I don't remember the exact numbers, um, but there was definitely an interview on this. And so if you do like 21 rubles to USD, at $29. So that's higher than the current price. And also, Russians have shittier oil, so their price is lower than Brent. The euros price or whatever they call it, it was like a couple dollars lower anyways. So so you should be they probably need like 34 dollars of oil to break even or be sustainable. So at the moment, the price is not sustainable for Russia. But on the other hand, they have like 500 billion dollars of reserves. So Russia for forex reserves, they had some pretty large, yeah, they had quite a bit of that, and then they had also had gold reserves, about 100 billion. Gold reserve, blah, 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 blah. So that is quite a bit of money. As you can see, that's quite high, and that's in freaking tons. We now need to convert tons into ounces. Holy crap. 1 kg to troy ounce. We're looking at 32 troy ounce. 32 troy ounce times 1,000, so 3,000, three zeros over there. All right, and then they had 330 that many ounces. What is that? That many ounces multiplied by, let's say, $1,500. Some kind of billion. 1 billion. I'm making some numbers wrong because I remember last time I calculated it. Um, they had about 100 billion in gold. Bah. Anyways, so they had a lot of money. So in terms of percentage of their GDP, it's quite a lot. They had so the total forex and gold reserves about 1/3 of their GDP. I mean, this is 2017. So let's say maybe um, a little more than that, a little less than that, a quarter of their GDP, which is still very significant. They also have a rainy day fund of some sort. Uh, they had what do you call it? Sovereign wealth fund, sovereign wealth fund of some sort. Oh yeah, they have one, and they also have this as national wealth fund or blah 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 blah. Doesn't say how much asset they hold. Oh, currently 124 billion. So yeah, they got like a third of their GDP in reserves, and basically an excess fund. So I think they can last quite a while. They also don't have 20,000 princes to feed. Um, all right, so I think Russia is prepared for a fairly drawn out war with the Saudis, but the advantage of the Saudis, obviously, their oil is cheaper, but then they also have crazy expenses. Russia, not so much. Russia also had very little debt. I mean, I think Russia government debt to GDP is like 14 to 17%. I don't remember exactly. 2008, we don't have that here. So like that's 14 in 2018, and then they're like, yeah, 12%. It's crazy low. But if you look at the Saudi government debt to GDP, that's not too bad, 28, slightly higher. And they've been climbing, even though oil price wasn't exactly low. Think about that. Oil price wasn't exactly low in 18 and 19, and they've climbed 5% in a year. So my bet is somewhat on the Russian side, and obviously as a collateral damage, all the U.S. Shale companies are going to go bust, almost all of them, and that would expose an opportunity which I really want that stuff for a long time, but it was super expensive. This guy, very important thing to watch is that they have no expenses. It's ridiculous. They have no expenses. Operating expense. Well, they had some. They have some thing that's basically correlated to the gross profit. I mean, look at that. Look at their numbers. It's ridiculous. Cost of revenue 20 million. The margin is insane. Um, yeah, I mean, this is basically a royalty company. They hold a bunch of land left over from the railway days. And this guy, and then there are other weird companies in Texas. I think it was called Amin Properties. This guy is probably gonna fall a bunch. Oh, it did. Uh, the- this Amin guy is a tiny company, like 30 million in revenue, and people didn't realize it was gonna fall. But I was like, most of their revenue comes from oil. Basically, you see the revenue is 3 million, right? And they basically have a bunch of uh, they have a little bit of building. I think they have some stupid building somewhere, and then they have some royalty somewhere. And la I don't know why people haven't seen it coming. Like as soon as the war with the oil price will happen, they're gonna drop. But they seem to be. Here's a number: revenue down 51%. Yeah, so that. But you know, they they're fairly safe. They're probably not going bust anyways. So these are the things I was looking for. These royalty companies. I mean, on the upturn, they do pretty well. On the downturn, as long they have no debt, they can't die. This one have no debt as far as I remember. I looked at this probably a half a year or more ago. Balance sheet, they have what debt? Yeah, they have no debt. No debt. So are they going bankrupt? No. All right. Let's see what else you guys said. Any thoughts on buying natural gas companies now for the long term? I don't have any particular thoughts. One thing that the guy I was discussing with a friend that he said it might be bullish for natural gas, actually, the oil war, because once because most of the U.S. oil are made as byproduct of shale oil. So most of the natural gas in US will be produced regardless of not prohibiting. If a bunch of your shale guys go bankrupt, now it's actually going to serve as a reduction in demand, and the demand for a reduction in supply, and the demand for natural gas, even though it's going to reduce because of the reduced economic activities over the world, it's not going to be as much as the supply drop, I think. So that's my thought, but I haven't looked into the sector overall. It was just some thought on this topic. Most tankers on fixed contracts, people are working on spreads. Check out Baltic Index. This is where BDI, the dry bulk, gives the spot of charter rates available. Yeah, but BDI is not the same as the tankers. BDI is for dry, and so these are so for tankers, you have to look at there were two other things. One's like the clean and the dirty index. So these are separate. Dry bulk probably will drop quite a bit. Oil maybe not so much. The reason is simply that dry bulk is directly tied to shipping of raw materials other than oil, and it's not cost effective to store these things on a ship, but on for oil, you need specialized containers, specialized storage facilities. So that does make a bit more sense to have the oil on ships because otherwise you have to construct them anew on LCS. Oh, yeah, I don't really know these guys. So yeah, how would Gazprom be doing now? Gazprom will be fine in terms of whether they're gonna go bankrupt. I still hold Gazprom. I think, yeah, they will have reduced earnings for this year because of reduced demand for natural gas, simply because, people stop consuming. But are they going bust? No, they have reasonably low debt, and yeah, I mean, they have reasonably low debt, and they will make money over the long term. They will weather this pretty fine. And also, in terms of their earnings, most of the earnings come from outside Russia. Anyways, if you look at the price at which they sell natural gas to within Russia and outside Russia, the price within Russia is much lower. It's all very subsidized. So they basically break even within Russia, and then outside Russia, they aren't too sensitive, from my perspective, to currency fluctuations. Yeah, I was looking at EURN for during 16 or so. Didn't I bought them for a while, then I thought I don't actually understand this business too well. Russia's opponents are in the gulag. Yes, Comrade Stalin approves. Uh, Sorry. No, what I meant is check both index for charter races. Oh yeah, portfolio anywhere. I didn't publish my portfolio anywhere. At the moment, it's half in cash anyways, so it's very boring. It's half in cash, a lot of Chinese ones and a lot of Russian ones. Very little US. All right. Oh yeah. On the one thing I've been intending to talk about was Surgutneftegas, and then I was Surgutneftegas. I was trying to do an analysis on how much their earning would fluctuate. Well, not earning, because you don't really care about Surgutneftegas's earning, because like even like real earnings, you don't care. It's a funny thing. You don't care about their real earnings. You only care about their accounting earnings. And um, this is a very weird company. Sven Carlin was saying that only Putin knows what's going on with Surgutneftegas. But I'm like, yeah, but they have a policy for, damn it. Fuck. They have a dividend policy for they call it preference shares. Surgutneftegaz preference shares. They don't call it preferred shares, they call it preference shares, eh? And the dividend policy. It was something like 40% of their earnings. That dividend policy. Eh, muy bien, muy bien. There we go. For shares being legal persons for. Damn it, I don't remember a lot of that stuff. Oh shit. I'm sure you guys understood every single thing written on it. Uh, I mean, Russian is probably the last language, not the last, one of the last language I will learn. But damn it, where is? Well, huh. Let's just go back to my old video and see what I said. I actually don't remember. There we go. Information lady. This is why you make a video, eh? You don't keep this in your head because it's very difficult to recall all that. So let's see what Yao Kai said in 2019. So what did I click? Okay, let's see. Oh my God. What is it? 4 Rugel DP Surgut Neft Gaz. God. Oh my. Not good. Let's see what this says. Regulations on dividend. Oh, so that is. I just need the English version of this. What happened to the English version? What the fuck? This is not good. They used to have an English version. Ah, not good at all. Well, at least we have a video of this, so let's see. What did I say? Here. So, says the total amount payable dividend on each preference share. See, I said they let's watch so I can watch his own video. Yes, it's very meta. It's very meta. It's 10% of the company's net profit based on the result of the last reporting year divided by the number of shares, accounting for 25% of the charter capital of the company. 10 divided by 25 is 40%. So 40% of the accounting profit will be paid out as dividend. And that's all you care about because you're not going to get any other stuff out of this company. Only the dividend matters. Unless some drastic changes happen to the corporate structure, but for Mother Russia, and then that's probably not going to happen. So now we just need to look at the earnings. Their earnings, most of that is annual report. Let's look at that. Oh, Richard B. An earlier question on SAIC was looking for 10Ks, etc. submitted Chinese firms to Chinese record. Any size? Yeah, go to the exchange, Shanghai Stock Exchange or Shenzhen Stock, the two of them. I had a video before. Yeah, in English, see that? These are all in Chinese though, so yes, the thing is the website is in English, but it's in Chinese. The reports are in Chinese. And how do I find it? I've never used the English version, so I don't know how to find it. Here. And let's go. Here, that's that. You gotta be able to translate this, otherwise this is bullshit. What the? Oh, it's just slow. Okay. What we need are that's not. This is all very useless. Monthly marketplace. Who cares about monthly? I'll get back to this later. Let's look at Surgutneft gas first. Very interesting stuff. All right, Surgutneft gas. It's all very somewhat useful, but the things you need to watch out for is oil production and gas production. They have basically flat, so that's that. And then sales profit will grow if both gas and oil increase in price, as you would expect. And this, this number is not. This number does not correspond to this. Okay, this is actually for the previous year, and you can see that as their sales profit increase, they had increase in sales profit, and then you can see that for 15, they actually reduced their dividend per share. Eh? Very interesting stuff, eh? The reason is that you don't really care too much about their sales profit. Okay? This is all that crap. And this is supposedly what an oil company should be focusing on, but unfortunately, this is a weird company and they don't. If you look at blah, 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 and you don't care about all that, you basically just trust that they will do an okay job on this whole shebang of oil and gas, and what we care about is not that. All these are very nice and all, but they're unimportant. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Power generation, I don't care about power generation either. R&D, I don't care. Social, I don't care. HR, I don't care. Go away. Corporate governance, I don't care. Okay, there's nothing in here that I care. I need the financial thing. We need accounting statement. There we go. And it's a zip file. Very advanced. Very, very advanced. All right, so accounting. So that's just an audit report, which I don't want. And hopefully, yeah. This is where the gold happens. All that is useless. This is where all their value lies. This 20 is what number is this? What number is in? I don't know what number is in. 1,000 rubles. Okay, this number. Financial investments. They had 2 trillion. What you got 1,000? This is now million. This is billion. 2 trillion rubles. And what happens with these are denominated mostly in dollars and euro. And what happens then is let's look at this income statement, right? You're like, revenue, blah, blah, blah. And then you have like gross profit, blah, blah, blah. And that's all the oil stuff. And sales profit, blah, blah, blah. You're like, okay, very good increase, blah, blah, blah. And other income, no, 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 no. Compared to that. Oh, God. Anyways, you have other expenses as well. But this is higher. Even if you subtract, this is higher. So what other expenses? This other income thing, right? What is this? This is all the revaluation in ruble terms of their foreign invested assets. And I was trying to figure out, not figure out, I was trying to make a spreadsheet of how sensitive they are to oil price and, ruble price. In fact, the lower ruble goes, the better it is for investors, because even though these are all on paper, all that is on paper. There's no these are non-cash items. Even though these are non-cash items, they still gotta pay dividends, and then they have the money to pay the dividend. What is the operating cash flow? You don't care. They have too much cash. They have too much cash. So who cares about their operating cash flow? Basically, they always had positive operating cash flow, capital flow. Wow. Let's see if you're interested, let's actually look at if they have a cash flow statement. They don't even have a cash flow statement. Oh, here we go. Cash flow statement. I remember they always had positive cash flow, even for reasonably bad years, like 2018. I remember it wasn't too good. It was like oil was around $50, $60. And these are all known cash flow items. It's just ridiculous. I wonder if we could see. I remember seeing it at some point, right? On like how much revaluation that was. R&D, I don't care. Capital investments in progress, I don't care. I don't care about these. Other use fixed costs. Financial investment. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Total. Let's see what they had. This wasn't the thing that I saw before. I don't know how to read this. What is this column? Historical cost. Negative historical cost? What the fuck? What? I was reading it at somewhere, but I don't remember where I found it. Flow of capital, cost of production, government. Okay, it has to be somewhere. It was revaluation of some sort, and yeah. Well, you can find it out yourself. I'm too lazy now. I'm fat and lazy. Okay. Don't know if it's the right spelling. Yaokai is not the right spelling. It's Y-A-O-K. Did you buy more Guangshen Rail recently as situation virus? I have bought some, yes, but I haven't bought too much because there might be a double dip. The initial dip is only China. The second dip might very likely come as not just China, but the world goes into recession. So that. Any thoughts on GSAJ? Yeah, it's very likely to go down a bit more, but I really don't know too much. Um, Traffic is down, as you saw on my previous thing. Traffic is down like 70% still, and it's been a month at least, a month and a half. So what? That was gonna last 2 months, and they're gonna lose a bunch of money over those 2 months. At very least, this oil and gas company knows how to use Microsoft Word and Excel. I mean, Russia isn't that of a hinterland, right? I haven't been there. I really want to go there. But given this whole thing, I probably can't get it. What do you think about nickel market and EV in China? I was long nickel. I had oh yeah. The one thing I made to my one change I made to my portfolio, I sold all the no risk nickel. Couple things. One is I think nickel price raised. Nickel price went up fairly high. So if you look at the London Metal Exchange, nickel price, and then they also even have a nickel inventory chart. Right. So nickel price went fairly high. It's one thing I don't really like when I hold a commodity company, and also has doubled on me already. It's a very good company, very cheap price. Well, people say, "Oh, it's destroying the environment," but it's not my problem really. Regardless of me buying or selling their shares, uh, they're gonna do the same. So I don't know what people are always like, "Oh yeah, like ESG, ESG." Is like, you know, uh, these guys are not tapping the capital market anytime soon, or probably ever. So they don't really care what their price stock price is. All they care is a dividend. And I don't know, current price graph. Go back a few years. This website is fairly fucked up. Very difficult to damn it. Enter keywords. Go die. Like you have to like just click and click, click. I remember like there was a lot of pain. This is a fairly large organization. How shitty does things have to be for me to have to do this? Eh? Decime por qué. No entiendo. All right, I'm a cash buyer. Update. Do my bidding. Oh shit. Oh my God. Maybe they should consider hiring me to build their website. Okay, let's not be too greedy and only go back as far as 2016. Okay. Okay, so they had a huge peak at the that was 70% up, and then there was a drop, and for some reason, Norilsk nickel did not have a drop. So one reason was that palladium was pushed up. So let's look at palladium price. Blah, 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 blah. Precious metal, palladium. Oh, thank you very much. This is what I want. Exactly what I want. Like, really? All right, let's go to a different website. Index Mundi. So Palladium went up hugely in price, which is just unreasonable to like. I think it's just unreasonable because Palladium is really an industrial metal, and you don't use Palladium as jewelries or a method of storing value. So let's see Palladium. But yeah, the price is just weird. I need to log in, and I don't have anything. Oh my God. Where's my graph? Anyways, just trust my words on it. Palladium almost doubled in price, and they make some palladium, but palladium is mainly used in gasoline cars, catalyst converter, and platinum is mostly used in diesel. And the moment diesel had the diesel gate, so a bunch of cars moved to gasoline cars, and then they used palladium. And if you do believe, uh, you know, EV is going to take over the world, then palladium is completely useless in that case. And if you do believe that fuel cell is going to take over the world, then you should buy platinum because that's what you need there for the catalyst. And I don't really think fuel cell is the way of the future. Maybe fuel cell is going to be good for large trucks, but not for small cars. In terms of efficiency, it's just much lower than battery, so it's more expensive to operate over the long term, assuming we can get the battery cost down even further. All right, we seem to have disconnection. Okay, we had a disconnect for some reason. So, anyways, I made a projection. If EVs actually grew as fast as people say it would take about 5% of world's nickel by like 2023 or 2025. So don't bet too much on it. Blah, 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 blah. What would the current yield be? You expect a dividend cut? Yes, I expect a dividend cut for 2019. Not because they were doing especially bad. We're talking about Gas, but because their dividend was ridiculous for 2018, which is paid on 2019, right? Super good. I actually made a prediction video, and I underestimated quite a bit, but it was still Gas. Their dividend was ridiculous last year, which is paid on the 40% of the earnings um, on 2018. And 2018, what happens was there was a devaluation of rubles. And if you look at their number, 24% dividend. It's ridiculous. This year, well, you can make a reasonable guess. Their numbers are mostly out. So if you can guess their dividend, we'll be waiting for quite a while. They had income statement. Oh, they don't have the next. Okay, whatever. Say here they have earning from. So they got two negative ones, and then most of that's from. Oh yes, this is where I saw that currency revaluation. Rubles went up, so they actually went down in earnings, even though they made more money. If you look at operating income, year over year, they made they kind of made more money for the first half of 2019. They on paper lost a bunch of money, and their earnings, accounting earnings, actually went negative. And you can see these are just funky numbers. Most of that is driven by this. Look at that. Most of it is driven by their it is driven just by the currency gains. And the currency gains can fluctuate dramatically. So last year, ruble went up and then they lost money on paper. And this year, ruble went down, and you can actually tell that it went down because it that was a whole thing a few days ago, I think. Right? You can even see it here, like that. Yeah. 2018, it was when they had a huge ruble drop. In 2019, ruble actually went up, and they lost, like 2019, they're gonna lose a bit more money on paper. So I guess dividend will be zero for this year for Gas, which is based on the earning of 2019. But 2020, which is going to be paid in 2011, sorry, not 11, I'm going crazy, 21, it'll be vast. It'll be 20% plus again. So that. Blah, 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 blah. China is locking all cobalt. Well, China doesn't have all the cobalt, so who cares? What's the current yield be? How much you spend vodka? How much spent on vodka rooftop? I don't know. They've been hiding all the cash in Russian beer has made from authentic American equity bears. Oh my God. You know, like reading comments like this, and sometimes I read like when people start trying to be funny and clever on Tesla's threads, it cracks me up. It in China, like these forums, online forums, people attack each other as well, but it's just not as funny. I don't know. I think somebody has robbed us of our sense of humor, and nah. But yeah, it just cracks me up. And there being a decent investment overall, virtual computational power since they can lower power costs and scale. It's I mean, Nvidia is a good company, but it's just hard. They have to reinvent themselves over and over and over again, and that's never easy to do. If they just misstep for 2 years, like, well, Intel misstepped for like five, and now they're getting their shit beaten out by AMD. I mean, I don't know if you guys were aware. I was long AMD quite early, but then I sold at like 18, and I stopped doing that. I thought Intel would catch up, but Intel actually was doing worse than I thought. Intel had IPC advantages. Now they don't even have that. I mean, like, what the hell, Intel? What the hell are you doing? Ah, will China ban ICE vehicles? No. Smog EV needs more. No, no. China will not ban ICE vehicles. People just live with the smog. I wake up every day with a smog, okay? Like, you don't ever almost see the sky clear in China. It's just fact of life. Don't ask for too much, okay? 1,700 Google engineers. I don't know what you're talking about. Palladium has been nuts on the upside. Now the crash. Oh, that's a crash? I haven't paid much attention. But if Palladium has a crash, which I assume was due to auto sale crashing, um, then it can't be very good for no risk nickel. The whole thing, the price of no risk nickel is basically propped up by the dividend, and if they don't have any dividend, they can't have much because nickel's going down, copper went down, palladium went down. That's three of their. Well, they have some platinum, but platinum is doing shit forever. So these they can't have good earning this year. It's just impossible. So their dividends are probably going to be cut by half or more, right? So their stock price is going to drop. You can pick it up and hold it for once it drops back down, and I think it's a good company. I feel fairly comfortable holding them, but it's just that the expectation for the next year is bad, and if unless you're concerned with capital gains, uh, which is a legitimate concern, I wouldn't hold them this year. It's kind of short term, but I thought like the signs are pretty clear. Even good companies, if you can get it at a cheaper price, why not? Check the Kitco website. Oh yeah, I remember Kitco. Palladium's gone up 400%. It's dropped off over. Oh wow, wow. Okay, I wasn't paying attention. I just knew that Palladium went crazy. What's the point of normal when they have preferred shares? It's not like you're going to vote on the board to prevent them from pocketing funds. They don't actually pocket that much money. I mean, this Surgutneft company, I don't know if they're pocketing too much money. It seems to be a company that's being controlled by the hand of some shadowy figure. I don't think these shadowy figures will be too happy if management starts stealing money. Why hold the non-preferred shares? I don't know. It's kind of odd. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's just better to hold the preferred one. It it just guarantees a 40% payout rate, right? It's basically a guarantee of 40% payout rate. And why not? Why bother with trying to figure out how the Russians will change and it's just odd. But when things go well, the uh, you let's see the if you look at the preferred shares, it has went up on some rumor last year and then crashed back down again. I I bought a little bit here and then I had something set on here, but it didn't trigger. I was like, I was kicking myself. But it went back down again, so I guess it doesn't matter. On the rumor though, you can see this increased by 50% ish. But on the normal share, which is ZY, that thing like did a double or triple or something. Yeah, Look at that, it's a triple. So I guess it's just that. Yeah, if you want to speculate, this is better. But if you just want to, grow fat on dividend, then you do the preferred. The reason why no one is funny in China is because humor is even distributed among it, whereas everyone doesn't have even. No, the actually is. I think that it's more to do with regulation. It's pretty sad. Like all the all the soap operas and all that and the movies in China are like you cannot make things that sharply criticize anything. But that's where humor is funny. Like humor is when you poke fun of something. It has to somebody has to be the butt of the joke, right? And you're not allowed to do that anymore. The regulation has been stricter and stricter, and it's pretty sad. Uh, yeah, it's stifling. Thoughts on packaged food producing? Well, nothing particular. They probably will be just fine. If people forego restaurants, they probably eat some packaged food, so they're fairly cheap too. Is China implementing stimulus plans, dollar injection, infrastructure? Yes, they are. China is definitely doing that. M2 on China, if you look at, it's been crazy this year. See if we have. It's up 20% from last year, and nobody's talking about it, which might explain why the stock market isn't doing as poorly as everybody expected. So, how do I do this? Let's make it a little bit. This is a stupid website as well. Okay, let's do this. See if that works. Area bar. Yeah, yeah. Look at that. Money growth. And I think in there was money injection towards the latter part of the last year, anyways. I mean, let's just go back a little further. The pain of not being able to enter. How hard is it? And I hate the it's been a straight line, but you can see these dips and ups and downs. It would be nice if we had some other number uh, of what you call those percentage changes. But China is definitely stimulating. They had something like 5,000. Shit, don't remember what they injected. Yeah, they were injecting. Yes, that. So they are lowering the reserve for shit, 0.55 trillion yuan. Divide that, so 550 billion. Divide that by 7, you end up with $80 billion on one day ago. And then they are also doing this is short, not that. People's Bank PBOC. All right, so they cut MLF rates. MLF is a medium term rate. So they cut that rate by what? 10 bips. And then they also did they also lowered the LPR rates as well. And that's a long term thing. They actually kept it keeps. Let's see. I thought they lowered that or some. They did some changes. Yeah, that's the 500 0.55 trillion thingy. And 1 year loan rate, yeah, by 10 bips as well. So both the long term and the short and the medium term got cut by 10 bips, which doesn't sound too much. compared to the Fed's 50 bips cut. But but Fed doesn't supply long-term liquidity, right? Fed only supplies short-term liquidity. PBOC supplies the long-term and short-term. Well, they had the short-term and medium-term. Long-term, I think, was supposed to be set by the banks, but whatever. And then investment-wise, one thing to watch out for is uh, so they, yeah, yeah. So that, damn it, I can't read the whole thing. Okay, so they actually lowered the growth projection, and then there's some guy was talking about they're gonna grow 6%. Um, and then there's the other thing that Xi Jinping said that they have to double GDP by 2020. So the GDP growth has to be 5.6%. Okay, so it has to be 5.6%, regardless of what happens now. So whatever, it will make up numbers, will invest in things that are completely ridiculous, but there will be 5.6% growth. It will happen. This is China. Okay, it will happen. But these things, I guess you watch them a bit more carefully if you're Chinese. But yeah, but you can from here you can kind of backtrack and deduce what will happen in China and what can they do. I mean, in terms of price increase, CPI increase, or inflation, food inflation is a problem. But other than food, things are not increasing in price. I know that first you got the salary cuts, you got a bunch of bankruptcies. These are all deflationary. These haven't shown up just yet on the recorded numbers, but they will show up probably towards summer. And what else is there? Auto sale has crashed, but the capacity hasn't gone down, and rent has gone down. That is what I know in Shanghai. There's a bunch of my so there are my employees were looking for new rooms to rent, and there were a bunch of more vacancies now compared to last year, and then they're lowering the price as well. So there is a bit of space for further money printing. So something's going to happen. We will have 5.6%. Blah, 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 blah. Kraft Heinz itself isn't a good company, but some of the legacy large food companies are decent. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about Kraft Heinz. All I know is I registered on Weibo, which is some Chinese company that tried to make a Robinhood copycat in US and luring people in with free shares. They gave me KHC. And if you guys want to give me some free shares, you're welcome to use my link, and I will put the link on the video. In fact, why don't I just do that now? Money is good. Quiero más dinero. Siempre quiero más dinero. Okay, so how do I do this? It's too time consuming. I'll put it in the description. Artem Proshkin. Hi. Solar got dropped with oil. Oh yeah, by the way, all the green things, these are inherently pro-cyclical, right? Just think about it. They are inherently pro-cyclical. Don't buy anything green now if you do expect a downturn. People only care about green when they have a lot of food on the table and too much time on their hands to worry about future. When you are out of a job, you having trouble to pay your mortgage and debt and all that stuff, the last thing you want is more dollars going to green initiative. All you want is food on the table and more money in your pockets, right? So most of the green things are driven by policy. So the policy turning point. In fact, why don't I show you a chart of these things? So there are a bunch of Chinese environmental companies that did very well in 2017 when economy is doing well. Something like let me just find it. 生物环保, right? It even has environment protection in their name. And if you look at what happens, 2017 is when they do really well, and this is what happens after. It's not an isolated case. 三聚 something, 三聚环保. There's a different one. And this is what happens when economy goes bad. This is a green company. When economy goes bad, this is what happened to them. And there's a bunch of these. There was like, so yeah, be very careful when economy does bad. The government's focus goes away from all the sustainability and environmental protection thing. I'm not judging whether that's good or bad. I'm only saying in terms of pricing, so ESG is going to be like, good luck to you. And then deflationary effect. Yeah, no, not a deflationary effect in China yet. Food price has been increasing, and because production is getting fucked, we also have the swine flu, which is driving up pork prices. So people are actually complaining about simultaneously a reduction in income and an increase in living costs when it comes to food. Low Weibo recruiting is a like pyramid scheme, but it's a decent problem. It is a so Weibo, some things that just smells. Okay, look, it's basically very Chinese. These are still pretty okay, but if you try to do, let me see. Can I log in? I can log in. Oh yeah, here we go. See, this font, that's very Chinese. Yeah, you can look at it. I have $20 on that. That's all from the stuff that they gave me. They also gave me Snapchat, but that hasn't deposited yet. Snapchat will be deposited within another 5 days, and by then it will probably be cut in half. This font, whenever you see this font, it's probably Chinese. So that's how I noticed it was a Chinese company, because there was nothing indicating it was Chinese. And I saw this font. I was like, so I was like, yeah, no, it's probably Chinese. So then I checked, and it turns out it was actually based in Wuhan, I think. Funnily enough, and the cost of acquisition per client is above words of $30. It's just ridiculous. So can EV be counted as a green thing? Yes, EV can be counted as a green thing, obviously. Hopefully I get a free BRK. Yes, of course. No, you will not get that. They have a policy of what shares they give you. I think it wasn't particularly bad. But man, you just milk this thing. It's stupid. Weibo bonus shares. Claim your 2 free shares now. Right? Between that and that, you are not going to get BRKA. It's not going to happen. Anyways, still, worst case, you can get $14.5. And if you have the patience, you can wait for my referral links. All right, I need to go to dinner. I'm going to starve. I haven't had food yet. I am trying to be less fat, so no, I'm not suffering too badly, but that's that. Goodbye.